Well, hey guys, here we are on the Mullet up at the Francis Scott Key Bridge. It started out really foggy today. When we got out this morning, visibility was not very good at all, but we could peek through the fog and we could see a crane had a piece of the bridge up on a barge, and it wasn't long before we started to see a barge headed back over towards Sparrow Point. Now, Sparrow's Point is where they're processing these bigger pieces of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The Dali is still where it's been since the incident. She is still in the back along that pier, and they're working to get that taken care of, to get it freed up. But of course, it's a process. And that first part of the process is going to be getting this bridge material out of the way so they can get the bridge off the ship and then be able to move it. It takes a little time. You can see this particular piece, I think I counted 10 places where this piece had to be cut before it could be lifted. And these aren't small cuts. These are major steel construction beams, heavy steel, and it takes a little while to get that cut. Of course, it's got to be supported when all that takes. It's a process. It's the part that I'm trying to emphasize here is these guys are working like crazy to get it taken out. But they had this piece and they were shipping it over, and we got a pretty good look at it. And so we're going to share some of these images here with you guys of this piece of the bridge when it was brought around. Now, it wasn't taken directly to Sparrow's Point. But rather it was moored out in the river. They have mooring buoys that are positioned, and they're on really big anchors out in the river. And so they're bringing these pieces over, and they're kind of staged here until they're ready to move them over to be processed. And you can see, just compared to the man lift, how big these pieces are. I mean, the upper piece that's visible here is as big as the wheel, the tractor wheel on that man lift. And that's a big lift, guys. You really can't get a feel for how big this thing is until you get close to it and really can feel it and just kind of take it in. It is super massive. Of course, you can see the old rivets that were part of that construction. I know that we have some iron workers who are part of the Minorcan Navy, and they've been commenting. I'm sure, the construction phase, I think about when this bridge was constructed and the methods that they were using to construct it and what it took to set each one of these pieces in place and the time it took to do that. Well, we're seeing it's taken a bit of time to remove it. It's not going to take near as long to move the pieces as it did to construct it, but you can see the work that went into the bridge. And again, look at the cuts that have to be made before they can lift it. And all this is figured in by engineers. Engineers are looking at these pieces, and they know how much needs to be cut, where it needs to be cut, so it can balance, so they can get it loaded up and do what they need to do with it to transport it. This barge was out, and we saw this barge in some of our earlier videos working, and it's got a shear on it and a grapple, big excavator machines with these power heads mounted on them, and the work that they're doing over, and they're in the river doing this work, you would think that this thing would have to be maybe moored up alongside a pier or something. No, not at all. This is some of that material that's been brought up, and they are processing it, breaking it up into smaller pieces, and then this stuff will be taken over this debris will be taken over to Sparrow's Point and dropped off, unloaded over there for further processing. But you can see the Dali still in the background. The crane's still working over. Of course, that's Resolve. The group is Resolve that's over working on the ship, and Don John is the group that is working on the removal of the bridge sections. If we had had a little more sun earlier, I think we could have gotten you guys a little better imagery. This is what we had to work with today. We're hoping for a better opportunity tomorrow, but still fascinating work taking place. The Ezra Soul on the way back over to Sparrow's Point. This is one of the workhorses out at the site. We've seen this tug moving some really big barges. Now, as you look back in the background, you can see that's one of the larger sections that was moved with the Chesapeake 1000. It is in the process of being broken down. They've got a smaller crane there. They've got a shear on one of those excavators there. And the guys, I don't know if you guys can see it, but in the background, there's a man lift. Those guys are working on getting those pieces cut. And this is all taking place on the east bank of the river, over at Sparrow's Point. As far as an area to do this kind of work, it looks like they couldn't have found a better spot. It's close to the work site. They don't have a long time to transport these pieces. If you guys remember the Golden Ray that we did back in Brunswick, Georgia, a lot of those sections had to be transported all the way around to Louisiana to be processed. And these guys got pretty good room here to break the bridge down and get it cut up. Now, the Chessie was kind of idle today, but we really got some really good video here, and I just wanted to kind of show you guys up close. Of course, this is the stern of the barge, where a lot of the machinery is located. The winch system that works those cables. And then next to it is Don John's Douglas J. That's another big tug, another workhorse that we've seen out on the job as well. Very, very powerful tug. We're hoping for better weather tomorrow, better start, so that we can continue to get you guys some imagery, some shots that maybe you guys haven't seen of the project. And that's what we do. We're glad you're here with the channel. If you haven't done it yet, please click on that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you'll see when we drop these videos. And then hopefully very soon we're going to see another large piece of the Francis Scott Key Bridge on the hook here of the Chesapeake 1000. They're making good headway, guys, and it looks like this project is moving exactly the way it's supposed to. Hey, thanks. That's all we got for right now. Appreciate your time watching. Again, hit that subscribe button. And if you would, please stay safe out there.